We are writing equations of lines with parallel and perpendicular slopes review video. We are starting off here with some recall. So we had a homework assignment on this a couple weeks ago, and we talked about this in quarter 2 this year. But we need to know our parallel and perpendicular slope rules for this lesson. So we're recalling here that to find the slope that is parallel or perpendicular to a given graph, equation, or table, we need to know that parallel slopes are the same. So whatever slope you see is the same slope that you'll use. Perpendicular slopes are the opposite reciprocal. And remember, opposite reciprocal means we flip the sign and the fraction. So for example, if my slope that I was given was 5, in order to find the perpendicular slope, I just drew there the perpendicular symbol, I would need to flip the sign. The current slope right now is positive, so my new slope would have to be negative. And then I'm going to flip the fraction, but I have a whole number right now, so I can change that into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. So now I can flip it, and I know that my fraction should be 1 over 5. So here we go, looking at the steps now. So what we're going to be doing here, first, we're going to find the slope of the graph by counting rise over run. So first thing we have to do is find the slope that we were given. Next, we are going to determine the slope that is either parallel or perpendicular, depending on what the problem says, and using the rules above. Then we'll substitute the given point that they gave us and the slope that we found in for their corresponding variables, meaning our variables x and y for the given point, and slope is m. So we'll plug in for those letters. And then I'll leave for our remaining letter, which will be our y-intercept or our b value. And then our final step would be to just use those slopes and y-intercept to write the equation of the line and answer the question. I'm going to go through 2 examples here, one for parallel, one for perpendicular. Throughout the entire time, I'm always going to be using my test taking strategies and stopping after each step and seeing what answer choices I can eliminate, because I might be able to end my problem early if I do that. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one says, find the equation of the line that is parallel, so this is a parallel one, to the graph and passes through the point 9, -3. So I definitely need to know parallel. That from above we know means the same. And here's the point they gave me. Those are my x and my y values. And I need to go first to my graph, and I need to count the slope of this graph. If you remember from doing this at the beginning of the year, we need to find 2 places I can make a point that crosses in the corner. I'm always start on the top left, and I follow my way down. Here you go, I found one. I can use this one here, and I'm going to continue that until I find a second one that crosses perfectly, and I find that one here. And now I can count. I can count that I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went down 4, and to the right 1, 2, 3. Notice I made that 4 negative because I said down. Right? So that's my current slope. And I want my new slope. This is my current one I'm writing. And I want my new slope that's parallel to be the same. So that means I'm looking for an equation that has the exact same -4 over 3 in it. So I could stop there and already eliminate. If you don't got 4 over 3, you are out. So I'm going to go ahead and look for that. This one has 3 over 4, so they're out. A cannot match. This one has 3 over 4 as well. B cannot match. C has -4 over 3, and D has -4 over 3, so I can keep those, and now I have to continue my process. Right? Up above here, we have now reached step 3, where I'm going to substitute now because I know my x and my y, and I know my m. I'm going to be substituting into point slope form. I just think this one is the easiest to use here and solve to get our equation of the line quickly. So notice that these are the variables I'm going to be plugging in for. My y1 and my x1, because that represents my point that I was given, and my m for my m and my equation. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You'll see me plug in red here. So it'll be y minus, and then here's my -3, which you should be like, that's going to turn to positive. -4 over 3, parentheses x, minus, and here's my 9. And then now I'm going to solve that equation for y, because all of my equations over here are solved for y, and I want mine to look the same. I'm going to start by changing that sign, and then I'm going to distribute in, so I know this is coming down. I get -4 over 3x. You would type in your calculator at this point, -4 over 3 times 9, -9. And when you multiply that, you end up getting 12 out. So I would do plus 12, because that's what I got in my calculator. And then my last step to get the y alone is to subtract 3 from both sides. And I end up getting negative 4 over 3x plus 9. And there is my equation in slope-intercept form that I could match with. And I see that my answer choice here is D. That's the one that matches. All right, let's take a look at the example with perpendicular slope now. All right, so going below here now, it says find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the graph and passes through the point 6, 7. So let's take a look here at where we can find some points here to count. All right, so I'm following my line down, and I reach one right here. So I can take this one, and I'm going to keep following my way down, and I find another one here. And now I can count my slope. I go down 1. Oh, down 1. I want to go down 2, actually. And then, whoops, to the right one. So my slope ends up being just negative 2. So my current slope is negative 2, and I want my new slope to be perpendicular. Perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal, so I'll start first by flipping the sign because it says opposite, and my current slope was negative, so I know my new slope has to be positive. So I can get rid of B and C because they had negative slopes, and I know I want mine to be positive. And then now I need the reciprocal of that number, which means I need to flip the fraction. It's a whole number, so I put a 1 underneath it. So when I flip that, I get 1 over 2. I'm going to go check my multiple choice here because I got different slopes. You probably are seeing the answer there, and that answer is A. So I could stop my problem there early. I did not have to plug my point x values 6 and 7 in and solve for that, that final equation because of that. If you need any help, make sure you come back to the video.